It's so wonderful to see you here on this Tuesday night, and excited to just join together and grow and learn. And our speaker is one of our very own HEAT NMDs, and I've known her since she was younger than, well, you're probably older than my son, but younger than my daughter. So I just love that, you know. So Alexis Busselman, she lives in Inez, Texas with her husband, and she has 3 young children. Kennedy is 5, Ryder is 2, and Lane is 9 months, and they are adorable. She graduated from Texas A&M with a degree in communication and business administration. She spent 5 years in sales for a digital advertising agency, and she loved the business world, but struggled to find that balance between being a full-time mom and committed to her corporate executive career. She decided only 2 years ago to partner with the Juice Plus company and provide flexibility in raising their growing family. And like I said, she's a national marketing director with the HEAT team, but she also won in 2019 Rookie of the Year at our prestigious Elton Awards. So that's pretty cool. And what I love about Alexis is ever since I knew her as a young girl, she has been focused. She's just always focused. She was an incredible swimmer, if you didn't know that. And it shows today in her grown-up life. So here's Alexis.
Thank you, Michelle. I have to laugh. In my grown-up life, here I am. I'm a grown-up now. I am excited to be with all of you this evening, and I'm going to share just a little bit about my story. As Michelle said, my journey with this company in this business just started 2 years ago. So if many of you on this call, you may be a little bit newer, maybe this is your first time on, our leadership call. It's a little bit of a higher level training. And that's okay. I'll tell you, that was me last year. So there's a lot to learn, and this is a really amazing community and a great team to be part of. So with that being said, I have been on the Juice Plus products for a long time, since I was a child 18 years ago. And my family always loved these products. We knew we would take them forever because of the health changes that we saw, the science behind this. But I didn't really know that there was a business. I signed up to be a partner with the company just because I could get a little bit of money back on my family's orders, and I was happy with that. Year after year, just getting that little bit of money back, and it was great until the very first time I shared the product with someone. We all know what happens when you tell somebody about this and they have a life-changing experience. It just really changes who you are. And that very first order that I put in for a customer, I received a phone call from my national marketing director, Carolyn Swanger, and she saw me on a report. She saw that it was my first customer order, and she was calling just to check in with me. And so that's really where our story tonight is going to begin, is that, reports can really be a gold mine. I mean, who knew that phone call that she made would end up being her first national marketing director, 18 months later. And I am so grateful that she just picked up the phone that day to call me just to see, hey, I saw that you put in a customer order. I'd love to share with you who I am, and that I'm here to help you. And so it's been a really exciting journey for me. And tonight I'm going to be sharing with you all about some reports. So reports, I know we got a lot of them. Sometimes we get them in our email and we're like, I'm not even really sure what to do with these numbers or what these mean. So I'm hoping to be able to bring a little bit of clarity tonight to the reports that myself and Carolyn use most often. And so this actually was going to be her training tonight. As I said, she is totally an expert when it comes to these reports. And she had a last minute obligation. And so I told her that I would take the training, I would share with you guys. But I do not want to take credit for all of this, because this really was, her doing and her sharing with me and teaching me all the way. And so I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and we are going to go ahead and we're going to get started. So tonight we're going to talk about opportunities that you can capture when it comes to reading reports. So the first thing is we're going to go over 3 reports tonight. Some of these you may be more familiar with than others. The first one is customer analysis. Honestly, that's my favorite. I run that one all the time. I'm most familiar with it, and maybe you are too. And then order analysis, which I know a lot of people really enjoy using that one, and there's some good little nuggets on there. And then the third one is the genealogy. And if you guys are like me, when that comes in your email, you just kind of like go like this, and you're like, I'm not even really sure I want to open it. There's all those codes. I don't know what they mean. And it can be really overwhelming. And so those are going to be the 3 that I kind of go over with you this evening. And I want you to know that the easiest way to become more familiar with these is just to be running them more often, looking at them more often, becoming more familiar with the content that's on there. And then you're going to learn ways to be able to benefit, from what you're finding. And so let's go ahead and talk about that first one, customer analysis. You guys can take a picture of this slide. You can take a screenshot. This call is going to be recorded. So if you've never ran a customer analysis before, this is how to do it. And in your virtual office, you go to team data, you go to customer analysis, and then there's going to be some things that you select. And so I'm going to walk you through that on this next page, what that looks like. But just know, this is going to be recorded, so you guys can go ahead and go back to this and hit pause if this is the first time you've ever ran a customer analysis before.
And Alexis, I'm just going to add to that. I'm so glad you brought up that it's recorded, so people can really just listen, especially new people, can just listen and kind of put it back in their computer, knowing that it probably won't make a lot of sense, but the 6th or 7th time they hear it, it'll be what they really needed. But it's all of our recorded ones are on the HEAT YouTube channel. If you don't know where to find that, you can ask your sponsor, and they're all under HEAT trainings. So I just wanted everybody to know that's where they can find them, and that's it, I'm done.
That's okay. I'm going to come back to that again, Nikki. So I'm glad that you pointed that out. So yes, this is going to be recorded, and you're not expected to know all this content after this training. Don't even think that. We're just here to walk you through a couple things. So when you run a customer analysis, this is what it's going to look like. And as I mentioned, there's a couple things you want to be conscious of. So that very first one up at the top is that you've selected your fin, because you want to see everyone within your organization for this situation. And then you're also going to go down and you're going to pick an entry date. So I picked the dates, the 24th through the 26th, because I wanted to see what orders went in yesterday. And then down there at the bottom, I hit format, because I want to make sure that I can see the product, the frequency, and the payment type. That is important, guys. You got to know what type of product somebody ordered. So you add those in, and then it's going to take you back to this page to run that report. So this is something that, like I said, I'm probably most familiar with. So let's talk about how you can use this report. So first things first is this shows you orders that have been submitted. So even if they haven't processed yet, you know when an order goes in. So this is really valuable, especially for when you're helping your teammates. You want to know when orders go in right away so that you're able to reach out to them, you're able to have that conversation with them, and you want to celebrate every single win for your team. Every order that goes in is a big deal. So that brings me to my next one. You want to congratulate every single order. I mean, especially for those brand new partners. When they have an order that goes in, there's nothing that makes them more excited than getting a message from me that says, Jennifer put in her order. We talked to her last week. I saw it go in. It's really exciting for them, exciting for you. And this is a great place to just be a little bit more aware of what's going on with your team and being able to see when those orders go in. You also can spot an inactive partner who adds an order, or a new partner who gets their very first order. Y'all, that was me. The very first time I put in a customer order, Carolyn picked up the phone and called me. I've also had partners, that maybe we haven't seen an order for them in 6 months or 9 months, and then they put in their first order in a long time. And it feels good for them to be recognized and to reach out to them and just say, hey, I saw that order you put in. I'm so excited for you. And just start that conversation again. You also can help new teammates that you can help check the orders that go in. So just an example on this one, I ran a report this morning. Someone told me an order went in. I took a look, and the person ordered the sample packs, our little pocket packs. And so I just messaged her and I said, hey, when you have the conversation with her, just make sure she knows, first of all, it's a child serving. And second of all, that it's going to come in the little single serve packets. It's not going to be the bags. And so we might want to get that swapped out. But, you know, your partners don't always know what to be looking for. And so this is really helpful if you can kind of catch some of those things and create that conversation again with your partners. And then as a leader, we need to know how our team is progressing every month. And this really helps you get a pulse. I will tell you, if I go 2, 3, 4 days and I don't see orders going in, I'm starting to wonder, is something going on? Because for the size of my organization, I usually see orders, you know, every day or two, something's going in. And so it really helps you get a pulse on, you know, what orders are being submitted within your organization. Okay, so we're going to keep going for customer analysis, and let's talk about date range, because I think this is one of the biggest advantages to this report is you can adjust those dates. So as I said in the example, you can do today, and so then you can see any orders that went in today. And so that's really helpful. Like for me, I'm running one usually at the end of every day, just taking a look, seeing if anybody put in any orders today. Again, that lets me be aware of what's going on my team. But maybe you're a little bit of a newer partner and you just need to run one like maybe every week and definitely every month. And so what I would typically do is as I'm running these on a daily basis, I'll usually run them the end of the week and the end of the month as well. So then I can see all the orders that went in. That's going to help me spot some important things. Like maybe I had a partner who put in an order every single week this month. Maybe she's going for a promotion. And so that's going to kind of be a red flag to me to kind of just take a look at her a little bit closer. Or you can leave that field blank, the date range, and you can see all orders. And when you sort by next ship date, you can see the reshipments coming up. So that is really beneficial because you can help find prospects for promotions. And so what I'm going to tell you guys on that note, which Nikki mentioned, we have the Heat Team YouTube channel, but I did a training in January specific to this. Running that report, I have screenshots of the report, how to see, you know, who's a good prospect for those upcoming promotions. It's literally a whole presentation in itself. So I just want you guys to know, like, there is a really great detailed presentation if that's what, you know, something that interests you, being able to find good prospects on your team for promotions that are coming up for reshipments. This report also helps you to see those. Okay, so moving on to our second report to take a look at this evening. It's going to be an order analysis. And so this one's going to be located in a little bit of a different section. You're going to find it under customer data. There's going to be an order analysis button. And again, you're going to select your FIN. It's going to ask you what order type. You're going to select the date range, and then you can run the report. And so that's what we're going to take a screenshot here. I'll show you what this one looks like. So it's a little bit of a shorter, more brief notation here, but I've selected my FIN. I've selected that I want to look at all orders. And then I've selected the date range from the first of the month to the end of the month for this one. And what that's going to show me is everyone who's put in orders so far this month. So let's talk a little bit about why that can be valuable. So this is what mine looked like when I ran it, and I sorted it by last name. You can sort it by whatever you want. You can sort it by ship date. You can sort it however that meets your needs. But I sorted mine by last name. So you'll see right there where that circle is. Mine are in order of my partners within my organization. And what's really great about this report is it shows you the sales order number. So how often are we sitting there wondering, like, did someone's Juice Plus arrive? Did they get it? Did they not get it? When you have a new partner and they're like, I'm not even sure if my customer got their order, you can run this report. You can click on that sales order number, and it's going to show you the tracking information. And it's going to show you what was in the order. And so right there, you see that UPS tracking number. I can click on that, and it's going to show me where that package is at. So if it's sitting in their mailbox, I can let my new partner or my customer know, your Juice Plus has arrived. Just go out there and take a look and see if it's in there. So that's a really valuable thing, when it comes to this report specifically. Another thing to take a look at is you can see right here where it has the PVC amount on the left and the promo PVC on the right, that there's a difference. So that first circle that showed up shows 50 in the left, but 200 in the right. That means my customer right there is on installments. And that's what we want. We want installments, guys. We want everyone on installments. Now you'll see that second circle there has 300 PVC and it has 300 in the far right column. That means all the PVC was awarded when that order shipped out. And so that's a paid in full order. So that's just some of the things that I'm kind of glancing at when I run this report and take a look. And for that partner specifically, she has quite a few paid in full. So maybe that's a teachable moment for me to reach out to my partner and say, hey, I noticed you had several orders that went out this month. They were paid in full. Let's have a conversation about why it's important for our customers to be on installments. What is the advantage there? And for those of you who don't know the answer to that question, it keeps our businesses really consistent. Where paid in full orders, shoot us up and then we come down because we're not going to get any PVC the next month. And so that's one of the things you can see on this report. So how can we utilize this? We kind of chatted just a minute about a few of those things, but this is going to show you orders that have processed. And so I mentioned in the beginning that customer analysis is probably my favorite one that I'm running most often. And it's because sometimes orders will show up on the customer analysis, but then not show up in the order analysis. And the reason that is because the credit card was declined when it was put in. So I saw it go in, but it did not process. And so this is going to show you orders that have processed. It's also going to show you orders that have reshipped. So that's not something you're going to find on the customer analysis report. So if you're looking to find out, did my partners have any orders that reshipped this month? This is going to be the report that will tell you that. Again, I mentioned you can identify orders that are installments versus paid in full. And we really don't want any orders paid in full. We really want them all to be on installments. You can see the UPS tracking information with that sales order number. And I always tell my team, you want to check this before the end of the month because this can help you identify partners who are candidates for promotions with reshipments. So I ran one the end of last month and I saw that I had somebody who actually had four orders that reshipped last month. And so I reached out to her and I said, hey, you know what? You actually met the minimum requirements already for Partner Plus. You had enough points. You just need one new order. Can we get one new order put in today so we can get you promoted to Partner Plus? And guess what she said? Yeah, absolutely. I needed berries anyways. She put it in and we got to promote her. But I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't gone to this because she's not a super active partner. And the orders reshipping were orders from last year. But this is the report that allowed me to see that. Okay, and our last one, which I personally, this one's the most intimidating to me, that genealogy report. It gets emailed to us several times a month. If you're like me, the first probably 3 years I got the report when I wasn't really an active partner. I had no idea what it was for, what any of those things meant. But something to note is that you can go and pull this report at any time. So we get an email to us twice a month usually, but you can also go into Team Data, Former Reports, and then you can pull a report. And you can do this for your own personal customers, but you can also do it for your entire organization. And so this is a screenshot up here above of what mine looks like. And I think there's two really important things that we should be taking a look at. And that's going to be the D's and the C's. So the D's are going to be declined cards that did not process. And then the C's are canceled. And you always want to save these reports because they're going to come to you in an email. So if you save them in a folder on your computer or save them in your email somewhere, maybe you have a special folder for them, these, you don't always have access to canceled orders later on. And so it's really helpful to have these reports. If, let's say somebody down the road, wants to know a little bit about their Juice Plus order they canceled 2 years ago, you can go dig this report up and see it. And I was talking to Carolyn this morning, and she said, yeah, I have 20 years of genealogy reports saved. She said, and when I ever just hit kind of a slow day, I'll just pull those up and I'll just start looking at canceled people and just start reaching out to them and just say, hey, I saw your order had been canceled. I just wanted to see how your family was doing and if there was any way I could serve you. So just know that this is a great place to find some of those people who are familiar with our products. And so let's make sure anytime this at least arrives in your email, guys, sent by the company twice a month, you're at least opening it and you're at least looking for the C's and the D's. So how do we utilize this report? So again, two things, major things to look out for, C's and D's. So D's are declined cards. Things to note about declined cards. No PVC is awarded for cards that are declined. So if you're going for a promotion and you're counting on those points, nothing's awarded if that card is not processed. Another thing is you are not paid on cards that are declined. That's not good either, guys. We don't want our paycheck going down because someone just didn't update their credit card when a new one got sent in the mail. So both of those things are going to greatly impact your promotions and they're going to impact your paycheck. So we don't want any declined cards. And the next thing, canceled orders. So just so you guys are aware of this, we as partners in the field are not notified if a customer emails or calls the company to cancel their order. We only see it on this report. So a few months ago, I got my report, I checked it, I saw C that I was not expecting. I called the company, I said, hey, I saw this canceled order, and they said, oh yeah, she just emailed us and said she wanted to cancel. And I would not have known that if I had not inquired on it. So I was able to reach out to my customers, say, hey, I saw, that your order was canceled. I'm so sorry. Let's talk about it, and create a conversation there. So just know that you want to know why there's a C there. You definitely want to know that. Okay, another thing about genealogy reports. So cards that are declined over 30 days are going to go into collections. So let's say you didn't take a look at that report this month. There are a couple C's on there, and then it comes the next month. Well, those cards that those orders that are, declined. So those D's that you saw, they were declined because the person got a new card. You didn't call and ask them to update it for them, and therefore it's still declined the next month, and that next payment does not go through. After they're declined for more than 30 days, they're going to collections. Customers will receive a letter in the mail. We're hoping that it'll be revised soon to have some great verbiage on it, but for right now, they receive a letter in the mail that says, you're going to collection service, which the company, I will say, handles that in-house. It does not impact their credit score, but it is a little bit of an intimidating letter. We don't want our customers to get that letter, guys. And then the second thing about that is you don't get paid that retail profit on that order when it's in collections. Even if you do call the customer, get their updated card, and get it taken care of for them. Once they're in collections, it's just not really a good situation. Get it taken care of, but don't let it get to that point. We got to make sure we're catching those sooner than that. And so another thing, just so you guys are aware of this, new cards, they need to be called in to be changed, or if they're updated in your virtual office or the customer portal, they do need to be called in to be processed. The company, the way that the system works is when a card is updated, or when an order is supposed to be billed, the company will run that card for 5 days in a row. And so if the customer got a new card, obviously it's not going to process, even if they run it 5 days in a row. But what happens after that 5 days is the company just kind of leaves it. So if you put in a new card in your virtual office, our system doesn't automatically know that. So we do have to notify them that this ARO has been updated and the card is good to be ran. Email is a great way to do that, guys, unless it's end of the month and you have to call it in. So just note that it is important that once the card's updated, that we do confirm that it does get processed. Okay, so a couple stories I want to wrap up with. I know we're just at the end of our time here. Is one that has to do with orders that are declined and going into collections. So I will tell you, I've had my fair share of those, and one of those that went into collections, Carolyn and I talked about it. She said, I don't know if it's worth your time to call this person, and I knew who the customer was. It wasn't a direct customer of mine. It was somebody within my organization. And I said, I know this girl. I met her at an event and she loves her Juice Plus. I said, I don't understand why her card was declined. And now she's in collection. So I called her and she said, oh, gosh, I got 5 orders of Juice Plus. I updated 4 of them. One of them must have slipped through the cracks. And I was like, well, let me get that taken care of for you. You're in collections. Let me get it taken care of. Y'all, this girl, and I told Carolyn this, I said, she is a prospect for our team. I want to get this taken care of for her. 2 months later, she joined our team, and 3 months after that, she was a sales coordinator. Y'all, it is so important for us to be having these conversations with people because sometimes they just don't even know that they accidentally missed updating one of their cards. So that's really important for us to know there. And then the other thing I want you guys to just be aware of is I made a really quick trip from, my starting point to national marketing director. And where I'm at now, I have anywhere from 10 to 25 declined cards in my organization every single month. Some months have been more than that, but usually it's between 10 and 25 a month. So something I want you guys to think about, if tomorrow you logged into your virtual office and there was 20 new orders within your organization, what kind of celebration would we be having today? Like, oh my gosh, look at all these orders, look at all this PVC, look at all these people who are getting Juice Plus. I mean, it would be a big win, right? Guess what? It should be that big of a celebration every time you get one of those declined cards fixed. And it's really easy. You just get the updated card, put it in your VO, make sure it gets processed, and it's done. But those are points that really matter. So this month alone, I have already had 20 declined cards within my organization. Y'all, that is the difference between, 1,000 on my pay line and 2,000 on my pay line this month. When you're going for SSC, when you're going for QNMD, when you're going for NMD, when you're going for these positions, 1,000 or 2,000 to your pay line makes a big difference. So I just want you guys to know that you need to be taking a look. When those emails come, when you see that genealogy, make sure you're at least taking a peek, looking for the C's, looking for the D's, and reaching out to your upline, reaching out to your sponsor, and getting some help, making sure that we're not leaving people, in that status of decline. So I am happy to take any questions. I have not been keeping up with the chat. So if you have questions, feel free to unmute yourself, and I would love to answer anything that you guys have tonight.
I have a question.
Yes.
So the last part that you just talked about was you were running the report from our virtual office. But you said at first that we do get this emailed. So that's part of our genealogy report. Is that correct?
That is correct. You are your personal customers.
Okay. Okay. And I have like one right in front of me, and I'm wondering, is there a C or D that comes on? I mean, is it on this report, the one that I printed out from the email they gave me? Is that AROST? Is that what that column is? I either see an A, a P, or a C or D. Is that what that would be?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you don't have any C's and D's, you're looking good.
Okay. Thank you.
And you can also run that report. So like, as I said, you can go into your virtual office and you can ask it to run the report for you.
Right.
You can do that for your entire organization too. For some of you who are on the call with larger organizations, I definitely recommend taking a look at that at least one time a month, because some of your newer partners may not know that there's orders that are declined or canceled on their reports.
Got it. Thank you.
Alexis, I've noticed sometime when I get my reports, I'll post on our team page and I'll ask everyone, say, hey, you just got your email, check your declined payments. But then they'll come back. Usually if their SCs are below, they'll come back and go, well, I didn't receive it. So does everybody get them at different times?
They usually come out within a 48-hour window. So sometimes you may get yours a day or so before someone else, but it's usually within, like, if it comes out on a Friday, they should have theirs by Sunday.
So your whole team gets it. Doesn't depend on what level you are, right?
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Everyone receives it. And that's where I say, if this is kind of a higher level call, you should be probably taking a look for your entire organization, because I guarantee you there are partners on your team that have no idea what this report looks like. They've never seen it. They have no idea that probably their personal orders as partners may even be declined and they don't even know, or they don't even know how to change it.
Hey, Alexis, I have a question. At what point, in my imagination is there's so much to learn when we get started, how to invite and how to follow up and all those really wonderful things. And so at what point do you really start focusing on these reports with your people? Is it when they're qualified, QSCs? Or at what point do you really start saying you need to start focusing on this for yourself?
So the first one is, I will say, is people will come to me and say, how do I know when my partner put in a new order? So I'm like, all right, let's have a conversation about how you find that. So that's usually my first one. And then people will ask, how do I find that tracking number? And so that's usually when we have the conversation about order analysis. I was a little bit late to the game on that one. So my national marketing director helped me out every once in a while find those. And then as far as genealogy, I really just teach my team, look for those C's and D's. If they can at least look for the C's and D's, even in those early stages of being a QSC, that's going to help out. Then when you get to be a larger organization, when you're maybe a QSSC, SSC, and you have much more teammates, then I'd say probably once a month to be looking at your organization as a whole.
Great, thank you.
Absolutely. And if you guys are not getting these reports emailed to you, you can always go into the virtual office, go to your reports, and you can have one pushed out to you via email. I do that those last few days of the month. I go in and have them sent out to me to make sure that I do not miss any of those cards that need to be updated. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys. I feel like, honestly, this can be very overwhelming, especially if you're new. Maybe this is the first time you've ever even heard about reports and you have no idea. But really, it's a gold mine. I mean, that's where I was found. Like, I literally was found there. And just like I told you, that sales coordinator, she was sales coordinator in 45 days. I pulled her out of collections just because she didn't even know she had an order in collections. And it started that conversation. I said, oh my gosh, you have a ton of orders. Like, why are you not a partner with us? So just know that this is all about creating conversation. It's about building those relationships, and it's about making sure things are not falling through the cracks. You're seeing that partner who had 6 orders reshipped this month, and you're telling them that they need to go for QSC. You're seeing the canceled order, and you're asking, why is it canceled? Because they might not even know it's canceled. So you really use this as an opportunity to create conversations.
And Alexis, I want to say one thing, and Michelle, I'll turn this back to you to close this up. There's 2 things I want to say. The first one is that's how we found Alita Spire, who's a national marketing director. We found that she was placing orders. We saw that a really great speaker was coming to her town. Chris called her up and didn't even know her and said, there's a great speaker coming to your town. How's your business going? And she said, what business? She didn't even consider this a business. So we sent her to an event, and Alita became one of our national marketing directors. And it was actually a PVC report, but just looking down at those names. And then the second thing, I just want to remind everybody, how cool is this training? So that when somebody starts asking you those questions, you can actually have them watch this and then come back to you. You don't need to spend an hour doing the training yourself. We now have this in our library as a permanent feature to train our people how to do reports. We can just duplicate Alexis by using the video. So I just really want to encourage that piece of it. If you've got a sales coordinator who's consistently asking those same questions, say, listen, why don't you go watch that video? And if you still don't understand it, let's sit down and talk. This is going to be in our library forever, and it's awesome.
Thanks, Nikki.
I completely agree. This was so great, and it's so valuable to have in our library. I mean, even if it's just letting one of your leaders rise and host a training call, and all they have to do is introduce this recording. I mean, it's really wonderful. And, you know, reports I've had over the years, you know, I've had leaders in my organization really just feel so uncomfortable with reports, but more uncomfortable about having to every month ask people to update their card. But I think they just didn't quite get how important that is. I mean, I would just imagine during this pandemic that we've had, if the grocery stores, which are definitely essential, operated under that fear. And they just thought, just not going to look at that report. I mean, you know, it's so intimidating. And so we would go, and the things that we value were just not in the store anymore because they weren't looking at their reports, their purchase orders, their accounts with all of their food suppliers. So, you know, this is a real business, and reports are just part of it. So the way that you assimilated this all into us and in these three categories and showed the pictures is very valuable. And just appreciate you so much. And I appreciate all of you guys that got on and asked those questions, because when you have a question, it helps all of us learn a little bit more. So that's all I have.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so we do have a Take Healthy Back call at 7 o'clock. So if that's something that you want to get on to learn more about, if you're brand new, learn more about our products and our company and our mission, 7 o'clock, same number we're on tonight. And everybody have a fabulous week. And Michelle, thank you so much for taking this on, and Alexis for doing incredible training.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Alexis.
Thank you, Michelle.